And if governments do not intervene, if we just let the market go with this and keep subsidizing the conversion of grain into fuel, the world's going to be in trouble. The economic instability leading to political instability, and it becomes a threat to security. And I don't think we've quite realized that yet. I mean, the irony is that the U.S., in an effort to reduce its oil insecurity, has created global food insecurity on a scale that we've not seen before.
The trend towards using agricultural land for fuel rather than food is worldwide. In the US, an estimated 1/3 of the country's maize crop could go to produce fuel by 2010. In Britain, sugar and oilseed rape are the country's largest biofuel crops, and together last year, they provided 60 million litres of fuel. This is British Sugar's Wissington plant, the largest sugar refinery in Europe. But sugar beet here doesn't only go to make sugar, it also makes biofuel. In line with European Union policy, the proportion of biofuels burnt in vehicles in the UK must reach almost 6% during 2010. Across the world, the rise of biofuel production has been linked to the food price rises seen in recent years. Dr. Jeremy Woods is one of Britain's top experts on biofuels.
In part, it's likely that biofuels were responsible for part of the increase in the food prices, but in fact that's been really quite substantially exaggerated. And that argument, I think, has clouded out the potential benefits that biofuels and bioenergy could bring to a future world where oil and gas are becoming constrained. In the future, though, if biofuels are regarded as the whole solution to the problem, it's likely that they would cause real problems in terms of competition for food. We've got some fundamental thinking to do there about the way food is produced and used globally, and that should be done in a way that allows us to manage this balance of supply and demand, so we get back to a situation where we have surplus food, but that surplus food is being used productively, i.e. for bioenergy, for biofuels.
If the experience of the last few years is anything to go by, finding that balance will be difficult. There'd have to be some way to ensure that biofuels for the rich doesn't come at the expense of food for the poor. It's as much a political problem as a practical one. Another of the world's key resources is suffering from overexploitation, and again, it is vital to keep the global population from hunger. More than 1 billion people worldwide do not have access to safe water. Global water consumption is predicted to double every 20 years. And water is key to today's intensive, mechanized form of agriculture. In fact, most of what we eat draws down heavily on global water resources. It can take up to 130 milliliters of water to grow a gram of lettuce, 3.4 liters to produce 1 gram of rice, and 1 gram of lamb can use nearly 15 liters of water. In the developed world, the average consumer can use up to 3,000 liters of foreign water a day, and most of it in the form of food. Punjab, known as India's breadbasket. This small state about 200 miles northwest of Delhi produces 1/5 of all the country's wheat. As far as the eye can see are golden fields of wheat, ready to be harvested. But looks can be deceiving. Food production in this region is now under threat. Punjab means the land of the 5 rivers, but many decades of intensive agriculture have started to drain the state dry. Sukhdev Singh is a Punjabi farmer who has been working this land since the 1970s.
पानी पहले हमारे जो ग्राउंड वाटर था वो अच्छी क्वालिटी का था 50 से 60 फीट तक। उस समय हमने बोर लगाया तो मैक्सिमम 60 फीट।
Sukhdev has been forced to drill deeper and deeper down for water to irrigate his 5 acres of land, drilling 10 wells in total. But the deeper they go, the poorer the quality of water. It's more salty and much less effective for irrigation.
पहले हमने 110 फीट पर लगाया, वो भी अच्छा नहीं मिला। उसके बाद 220 लगाया, वो भी अच्छा नहीं मिला। उसके बाद अब हमने 550 लगाया, तो कुछ अच्छा हुआ, लेकिन फिर भी नंबर 1 पानी नहीं मिला हमें।
Thousands of farmers in Punjab have been forced to borrow beyond their means to pay for the specialized equipment needed to dig the new deep wells and irrigate their crops. Sukhdev Singh, too, has had to borrow to dig his wells.
जुड़ा हुआ इस तरीके से है जैसे आपने एक कुआं लगाया, मैंने एक कुआं खोदा तो उस पर 3 लाख रुपए हमने इन्वेस्ट कर दिए। तो इसका अर्थ सीधा सीधा ये होगा कि आपको डेब्ट उठाना पड़ेगा। तो डेब्ट उठाया तो उसका रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट बहुत ज़्यादा होता है और वो फिर लथने का नाम ही नहीं लेता। इसीलिए तो मानसिक तनाव जब होता है, इसीलिए तो इंसान सुसाइड की तरफ चला जाता है।
In Sukhdev's own village, there have been several suicides in recent years. It's similar across Punjab. And many farm workers are now moving out of agriculture altogether, believing that the situation is irreversible.
हमें लगता है कि एक दिन ये बंजर हो जाएगी, ये कुछ भी नहीं होगा।
Punjab's water table is dropping by as much as a meter a year. Wheat production across the state has been in decline for a decade. Indian author Vandana Shiva has investigated what water scarcity means for the global food supply we all depend on.
I think water scarcity is not a problem of the future, it's happening. I witness it all the time. It's not about future world wars over water, it's about today's wars over a constantly shrinking resource in a period of an increasing appetite for water in a globalized economy that no more sees its own footprint in terms of how much water they've used.
And developed countries, with their insatiable appetite for a wide array of foods from across the globe, share a large part of the blame.
If a farmer grows lettuce in Punjab, he is using groundwater to make that lettuce grow. When that lettuce is exported, it carries with it virtual water. It carries a very heavy water footprint. In effect, the rich countries, they have imported virtual water, which they're not seeing, but they have simultaneously exported drought.
There is little doubt that the problem of worldwide water scarcity can be ignored. Within 15 years, experts predict that world water shortages could reduce food production by more than the entire current US grain crop. Whilst developed countries have been importing food from across the globe to satisfy domestic demand, their own food production has also been suffering. Worldwide, we each eat on average 20 kilograms of fish every year. But some experts believe that the world stocks of seafood could collapse by 2048.